Hey guys, welcome back to another fun fall DIY video. Today we're going to be checking out some Dollar Tree stencils that are new this year, at least as far as I'm aware, and I'm going to let you know what I think and also show you some quick and easy DIYs if you feel like you're a little behind in the fall decor department. These won't take you long to put together. Let's get started. All right, so first up, we're going to start with a sign that I picked up from Dollar General. I already took the sticker off, but I know I picked it up on clearance. It was originally $1 and I paid less than that. So I don't remember exactly what I paid, but I liked this wood trim. So I'm taping that off with some painter's tape, and I'm just showing you how I'm using, my head keeps getting in the way a lot in this, but anyways, I'm showing you how I'm using this little scraper tool from the Dollar Tree to just kind of push that up along the edge. And we're going to use some Waverly chalk paint in the color Pumpkin. Now, you can use any sign. You can use something you picked up from the Dollar Tree, thrift store, something around your house that you just don't like anymore. I love doing that. When you kind of get bored with your decor, instead of getting rid of it, just redo it. We're also going to use the same colors for all three of these DIYs. I'm using pumpkin and white. And that is just because I wanted them all to match and go together, but you can, of course, do whatever colors you want. So this took a couple coats of paint. I am using my heat gun in between to dry the paint. And after 2 coats, I realized that the lettering was slightly raised. You can't really see in here how it was raised, but it was, and that happens a lot with signs. So I'm just going over it with some sandpaper. I'm using a sanding block for the force, but I wrapped it with a piece of sandpaper because I knew there was going to get some paint on it, and I didn't want to get paint all over my brand new sanding block. So we're just going to sand this down a little bit, wipe off all of the dust, and then I did another 2 coats. So it would not have taken as much if I had done that from the beginning. I was trying to find shortcuts and it didn't totally work. So pardon my head, my face, my glasses that keep getting in the way. I edited a lot of that footage out, but that always makes the camera go out of focus for a moment. But I was doing some up close and personal stuff. So, all right, here are the stencils. These are some self-adhesive stencils from the Dollar Tree in their fall area. You can tell by the tag. And I actually did not find these at my store, but my dear friend Kendra from Late Night Creations, if you don't know her channel, you should check her out. She didn't find them in her store either, so she ordered some online and ended up with a bunch of them, and so she sent them to me, which was super sweet of her, and so I was excited to give them a try. I have used the self-adhesive stencils from there before, but I have not seen these before. There were so many different varieties, 4 or 5 different sheets with multiple different ones in there. So I'm going to give you my review. As you can see here, I'm leaving some of the struggle in to let you know. I want to be real with you. Like, these are really, really sticky, which is cool, because that helps without any, helps not having any bleed through. But they were really hard to put down, and there was I was afraid there was air bubbles. And this is the point with this next one. I decided to put 2 of them on here. The little cutouts from the letters were sticking to it. And I was literally at this point thinking, okay, I'm going to just post on my community tab. There's not going to be a video today. I'm just going to scrap this whole thing. There's no way this is going to work. But it did. So we're going to go in with some Waverly chalk paint in the color white. I'm using my little pouncer brush. Took a lot of the paint off on the paper towel to make sure I didn't have too much. And we're just going to cover the whole, both of the stencils here. We are not doing DIYs with an incredible amount of detail. They're pretty simple. These are quick and easy DIYs that you can put together. I did all of these in an afternoon. So yeah, the stencils worked great, but they were not easy to handle. But I was at this point, I was just keep going. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do it. We're just going to see, and then I'm going to take them off, and then I'm going to sand this down and start over again. That was pretty much what I was convinced was going to happen. If you want a little bit thicker coverage, let it dry for just a moment and then go back over and add a little bit more paint. I wouldn't let them dry too much. The idea of putting Mod Podge down, I know, is good, but these things were so sticky, I was afraid to put anything down. But look, it came off and it was fine. I was also convinced that I was going to tear apart this stencil, pulling it off, and it was going to rip and I'd never be able to use it again. But they were totally fine. So they're superpower ones. So give them a try. If you don't have a Cricut or you don't have other fancy tools to use for your DIYs, stencils are great. And these ones from the Dollar Tree, honestly, even if you only got one use out of them, I think they would still be great. But they worked. So I went in with a little paintbrush and touched up The stencils did take off a little bit of the paint, but I think that's because it was dry but not set, if you know what I mean. Like I was going through this so fast. That did not happen on all of the DIYs, but I just touched up with a little paint, and I put one of these burlap flowers on it from the Dollar Tree, and I thought this was super cute. So this is kind of the theme we're going for with these DIYs, but once again, switch it up to whatever colors and feels that you like. But yeah, I was pleased with how this one came out. All right, so this next one is a sign from Hobby Lobby. I have picked several of these up over the last couple of years. They're like originally $1.99, and I usually pay like 80 cents or less for them. But we're going to sand it down. I learned from my lesson. We're like, okay, we're going to sand from the beginning, clean up my dusty mess. I'm also going to take a baby wipe and just get off all of the dust here. You can see that on the baby wipe. And I also am going to just dry it down because I didn't want to wait for it to dry, and I didn't want to paint it while it was wet. So we're going to just move right along. Once again, Pumpkin by Waverly. I'm going to do the front, the sides, the back. I did the back because it was navy blue, and so it didn't really match at all. I did not do a double-sided sign, although I could have. And this took 3 coats all together. And once again, I used my heat gun to dry in between. With signs too, to do a little makeover on them, you can also just put some scrapbook paper. That's even quicker. But I really wanted to use this Pumpkin by Waverly. I use that a lot in my house, so everything kind of matches each other, my different DIYs. If you're new here, I want to welcome you. My name is Leanne, and I enjoy sharing budget-friendly DIYs here on this channel. And if you're new, I hope that you consider subscribing to my channel and make sure your notification bell is turned on. You can control your notifications on your phone or on your computer as far as how fast they, how they arrive to you. But turning on the notification bell really just makes sure that supposed to make sure that YouTube actually will put my videos in your subscription feed. I know you'd think that subscribing alone would do that, but that's not always the case with YouTube. So that's what I recommend, and it does help me out. All right, so once this got a couple coats, we're pulling out another stencil. This was from a separate pack, but it was the same type of stencils from Dollar Tree. Thought this was cute, it'd be cute in the kitchen on a tiered tray. And once again, we're just going in with some white paint. This one was a lot easier to put on than the other ones. So I think it definitely depends on the intricacy of the font and all of that. But I didn't have bleed through on any of them whatsoever, and I didn't rip and destroy any stencil. I frankly could not believe this. I did pull off a tiny bit of paint there. Once again, let your paint not just dry. There's like it curing or setting. That makes a difference. I'm going in with this burlap ribbon because I wanted a little bit of detail. So I'm just making a bow. I just crisscrossed it and then tied the center with a piece of twine because I felt like it would be too bulky if I actually used that burlap ribbon itself to tie the bow. So just crossed it, kind of like just cross it over. I didn't really show that, but I think you know what I mean. And I'm just going to fluff it, trim down the edges. I did do the lighter a little bit on this, mainly because I wanted the ends to not fray, so I was hoping that that would do the trick. And I'm just kind of curling it, bending it, trimming it. And we're just going to put this on the top. I thought about putting it around the border of it, but this is what I went for. So like I said, these DIYs today don't have a ton of detail. I like detail, but sometimes I also just like simple, and I kind of wanted to just show you some really quick ideas. These are things that don't have to take very long at all. And yeah, that was it for this one. So I thought that was fun as well. And well, that one loop could be fluffed a little bit more. I didn't notice that, but it looks pretty good. It actually kind of looks like a pumpkin to me, which is cute. Speaking of pumpkins, I've got these wood cutouts. This is from Hobby Lobby, $1.99 for 12. You're going to pay 40 to 50% less than that. Dollar Tree has them as well, but these ones are actually cheaper and they don't have a hole in them. So they are a nice wood piece, and the paint takes to this a lot well. One coat, dries quick. I did both sides. So if you were to do any of these DIYs, if you just picked up the wood blank signs that Dollar Tree seems to be carrying a lot of, that would be probably easier. They're going to dry or take less coats of paint and everything. But I just wanted to use things that I had in my stash, so that's what I did. And then I'm going in with a little bit of burnt umber from Apple Barrel just to paint the stem of our pumpkin. And I didn't want to, again, do a ton of detail here, but I did want to, I didn't want to paint the whole thing orange. So we're going to just paint both the front and the back of the stem. I, again, didn't do a double-sided sign, but I wanted it to just look finished from the back. If you put this on a tier tray or something like that, then it would just kind of look complete. I am doing a tiny, tiny bit of dry brushing. This brush is not really the best one for dry brushing, but it already had paint on it. So I just dabbed some paint off of it, and I just did a little bit around the edges to make it stand out a little bit more, and I did do that on both sides as well. I just wanted to kind of highlight it. And then I left that in for you. I got a little bit of paint on there, went back over with the orange paint. You'll never know the difference. While I had my burnt umber out, I pulled out a tumbling tower block and gave that a coat. I didn't water it down or anything, but I painted it and then wiped it off. It just made it dry quicker, and it was plenty dark, so it's kind of like a stain. I just really did it because it dried quicker. But we're going to use that piece as a, to make a stand, to make this pumpkin into a stand rather. So I just did all of the sides to that. And unlike the antique wax, the glue will not have trouble sticking with the paint. So that is another upside to doing it that way. So more stencils that Kendra sent me. Thank you so much, Kendra. These were so fun. It was such a pleasant surprise when I found these in my mailbox. She is very sweet and very talented. Like I said, if you don't know her, go find her, check her out. I'll have her channel linked for you. This one, the stencil just goes so much to the edge that I just put some painter's tape to cover up my pumpkin. I should have done that on the other ones because that was part of why I had to touch up paint, was because of that. So this one I didn't have to do any touch up. And once again, just going in with the Waverly chalk paint in the color white. I almost used the color moss. I love the orange and green together, but I wanted a little bit more neutral, even though orange isn't neutral. But I hope that makes sense. So peeling that off. I did not clean these stencils. I usually do, but they were just kind of fragile. I just let the paint dry on them. I might go back and try to wipe them down, but I just peeled them off, and super cute. These have great designs, great sayings. Yeah, I really liked these stencils, even though they were a little difficult to use at times. I'm doing a simple little shoestring bow with some twine. I didn't want to do, again, a lot of details. Sorry for my repeating myself, but I wanted to do a little bit. So this clip here is really funny. I accidentally recorded it in slow motion. So it was like a 16-minute clip. So I sped it up a lot, so you can't tell, but like the slow motion also alters the lighting a lot in the camera. So if this clip here looks a little bit funny, that's why. I couldn't believe I recorded it in slow motion. It takes up so much storage space. All right, just a little hot glue to put the bow on and a little hot glue to put our tumbling tower block on the back. I did it at an angle so that it leaned back a little bit from the front. And this one is really cute as well. Great for a tiered tray. These are so quick and simple to do. Let me know, have you seen these stencils at your Dollar Tree? If not, you can find some at Hobby Lobby or Dollar General, or you can order them online. But that's it for today's video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one.